1 point with Arnold Gamboa.
One of my favorite thought na senior ni Josh dito sa post niya, sa Facebook post niya, yung about relationships. Sabi ni Josh, relationships are your treasured deposits.
Yeah.
Kay, ang
You
ganda
can be,
nun, din nyo pa napansin yun na yung palang relationship is your treasured deposits.
yeah.
Are there any instances during this pandemic, Josh, na nabanggit mo, yes, parang naisip mo, yeah, thank God for these
These
relationships
relationships.
that I
Yeah.
had in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God for these relationships. Were there any time in your life during the past year that
Yeah, definitely. Relationships are treasured deposits, and during the pandemic, you kind of like, oh, thank God for this relationship that you built way before. Like maybe when you were still younger, or maybe you were still in high school or college, or when you were just starting your life, after school. I think that and those relationships, Kuya, you can withdraw. You can withdraw the value during crisis. It's
yeah,
either it can be in a form of friends just being concerned about you not being able to go out to shop for your food, or people just sending you money. I don't know, money or food, or just calling you, making you feel good about the situation or things that are happening. So these are the things that you will realize the value of relationship. And particularly for me, I am so blessed with good relationships. People will probably notice that I'm very friendly, sociable, but I only keep few reliable relationships in my life. And I think for me, that is also a strategic way to look at relationship and how you want it to be nurtured around this
true.
kind of environment. So
Mhm.
during the pandemic, one of the examples that I can give is that I have a mentor that would always check on me at least every month for the past 12 months. Okay, so this mentor, a business and life mentor, would always check on me and would ask me for a social distant breakfast and have a conversation about life and business every month, every month. So that's kind of relationship.
Paano niyo ginagawa yun during the pandemic? During the lockdown, particularly.
It's more like it's more on the other end to the other end. Yeah. So because during the pandemic, the business did not stop. Activities did not stop. So this is one of the examples that I can share. People investing in your life, in your career, and of course with my relationship with my family. I've been so busy for the past several years with my career path, and I never really had a chance to speak, on a regular basis with my siblings. But the pandemic is pushing you to do the things that you are not accustomed to do, like talking to your friends. So we actually have like me and my family, we form a chat group, and we would talk every morning, afternoon, and in the evening, just share our
Yeah.
meal. So these kind of relationships are the relationships that you always go back to and will pull some energy and strength from when you're going through this crisis and with crisis and difficulties. And for me personally, aside from that, one of the lessons, or one of the things that I can share, is your relationship with few reliable people. And I have to quote these few reliable people, because
Yeah.
sometimes the world can also be crowded. When you look at for example, in social media, the way that you consume your conversation and the way that you invite conversation is can also be draining or challenging. So my strategy last year was really just to keep my conversation within reliable people, people that I
Mhm.
can trust, people that I can be vulnerable with, and those are the relations that kept me strong and kept me kumbaga on top of everything. But of course, Kuya, another thing is, as an entrepreneur, is relationship with your employees, and that is something that I totally learned last year, because when you're in a crisis, you're also managing a company in crisis. People wanting to leave,
That's
people
true. Mhm.
people are confused about the direction of the company, and especially when they see that the company are not making as much compared before. So you also have to make sure that your relationship with your employees are strong or strengthened, and that's the time when you invest more time talking to them and really cascading to them the vision and the value of what you are doing. But of course, second to the last is your relationship with yourself, which is very, very important. Now, for people who are hardworking, like us, a relationship to self is not a conversation that we usually have, sa sarili natin. But during the pandemic, it is something that I learned that is very important. What do I mean by relationship with yourself? You have to check on yourself ano ba yung mga ginagawa mo na hindi healthy? Because kuya, when you say that, okay, God will take care of me in this situation. It's one thing, no, to have to access that faith-based strength, but it's also another thing to actually realize that personally you have to do something about your situation in a practical way.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I did 2020 is more of, sleeping early, waking up early, making sure that I eat the right
Ouch.
food, making sure that I do my exercise, and if I
Mhm.
feel a little bored, maybe I can plant maybe I can buy a plant that I can water in the morning. So these are the practical things that I feel individually we have to be very conscious. No, recognize your emotion, access your faith-based approach, and then also identify what are the things that I could actually do practically to cope with this situation and get out of this whatever negative feelings that I have. So and then lastly, of course, relationship with God, something that we always neglect. We put to the side. Very cliche, but lagi ting sinasabi na, oh, we love God, we have God, we are with God, but reality is that sometimes nasa-set aside natin. And so when during this time,
That's true.
cliche din siya na nangyayari, pero this is also the time that we kind of like seek God more and
That's
understand
true.
more our relationship with Him. So in the past year, that is also something that I'm very happy and proud about, because I was able to reconnect in an intensified way to my relationship with my Creator, having a real quiet time in a regular
Mhm.
basis in the morning. And actually, you've seen me doing live as well in my Facebook page,
Yeah,
and
in the
that,
morning.
that
Mm,
opportunity as well to share to other people was, I think, really
that's
fantastic.
true.
So those are the kinds of relationship that will really help you. And iba-iba yung approach doon, that unique approach, but I think that those are very important to get through the process of coping with this
That's
pandemic.
true. We normally say that life's a mess. Don't leave it alone.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Life's a
I
mess.
agree.
Don't leave it alone. And that's true. It has been evident sa atin lahat nung during the pandemic. It can be as small as having a quick chat with a very good friend online, kaya nauso ng mga Zoom calls and Google Meet calls, nauso na yan talaga. And to as small as a short conversation checking you out to really helping you out during the pandemic, no, kapag
Yeah.
may problema ka sa finances, may problema ka sa, di ba, may problema sa pagkain.
Yes,
And
that's
for
true.
some of us, we had this experience where we have our friends that needed help. He has to be brought to the hospital, for instance,
Mm.
when during the course of this whole pandemic, kailangan natin yan. And when I had a friend who needs to be attended to, no, sa ganyang kasi sitwasyon, ang unang-una ko na naisip palagi, ang unang-una ko naisip, si Josh Mahinay. Josh, tul-
Well, I think
tulong tayo. Tulungan tayo.
I think
And
I think the feeling is mutual, because you've been always my constant help as well. I mean, all throughout this year. So yeah, that's the one example of having reliable few,
Rel-
maybe few, but reliable friends. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. And relationships, as Josh said, are your treasured deposits. So wala tayong na deposito, wala tayong i-withdraw
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
So I like this for those of us especially that are trying to live alone, and that's the reality. Some of us, we want to live alone. We don't want to be bothered. And then for some, it's just fine, no? Kung yun talaga ang yung personality, walang problema doon. Pero sabi nga ni Josh, kahit na yung isa, dalawa na we can have really deep relationship with, no, just continue having that. Make that prosper. Make that
Yes.
grow, no? So that eventually, you can withdraw, you can withdraw some of those, and then eventually also you can give out to
Yes. Yes.
this particular relationship, di ba? Maganda yung isipin din natin na
1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point with Arnold Gamboa.